I guess even masterpieces have their flaws. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 bad levels in great games. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at games that are really fantastic overall, but there's just that one area that even the most hardcore fans just don't like.
I remember when me and the crowd put you in that sub.
Number 10, The Lost Pilgrimage, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Even though it's one of the greatest games of 2017, Zelda is not immune to frustration. Here, you have to follow a little Korok named Oki to a nearby shrine without being seen by him or going off course. The problem is that because the area is very dim and Oki is so small, he blends in with the tall grass, making him very difficult to spot. But the real kicker comes towards the end, when a wolf attacks him and he explicitly calls for your help. But he'll still fail you if he spots you. And that's the thanks you get for saving his life. Screw you, Oki. I hope the wolf finds you tasty. Number 9, The Lost Sanctum, Chrono Trigger, DS version. There's nothing wrong with bringing back a classic in a new format, especially if it adds on more content for us to enjoy. Except in the instances, of course, when all of that additional content turns out to suck. Case in point, The Lost Sanctum. Inside this titular alternate dimension, players will be tasked with traveling back and forth through the same mountain and cave to do a series of fetch quests for some villagers. What makes this area infuriating is the fact that you can only take up to one quest at a time, meaning that you'll end up going up and down the same mountain over and over again, and over again. Number 8, Fairplay, Mafia.
Frank here. Tom, you did well yesterday, but now we need your help again.
In order to prove yourself as an up-and-coming mafioso, you'll find yourself stealing a race car and taking it to the garage to be used in a 1930s area Grand Prix. It might sound like a fun mission until you find out that you have to get the car there within a time limit, and if you damage it in any way, you will fail. But it gets worse when the actual race starts. The controls are very slippy, and the car has a nasty habit of spinning out of control or getting stuck to other cars, possibly costing you the race. No wonder the developers had to patch in the option to just skip the whole thing.
But you're gonna have to hurry. It ain't gonna run as well as when you first brought it in.
Number 7, Atlantica, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Then you boys got to practice. You follow Flounder. He'll show you what to do.
No matter how many times we talk about this section, we can't imagine how on earth a whole area based around a rhythm minigame to some rather mediocre Disney songs that wouldn't be considered for a direct-to-DVD sequel got approved to be included in this game.
And this happiness inside I owe to every one of you.
Come on, Square Enix, we're here to beat the crap out of the Heartless and a few memorable Disney villains with a giant key, not take part in Sebastian's rejected musical. We imagine that Kairi would be a little peeved if she knew what Sora was really up to when she needed him the most.
He's far away, but I know we'll see him again.
Number 6, Chapter 13, Final Fantasy 15. Remember how the strongest points of this game were the bromantic bonds between our 4 leads as they took to the road, slayed monsters together, and generally had what was quite possibly the best bachelor party of all time? Well, forget about that because it's time for Noctis to fight solo. As you near the end of the game, among the many issues with this chapter, you'll mostly find yourself desperately trying to stay alive as you constantly backtrack through the area to upgrade your keycard and fight off waves of enemies until the damn elevator arrives. Even Square Enix have acknowledged how bad this part is and have since patched it. Number 5, the final section, BioShock. You can imagine the disappointment that players felt after coming off of the high of not only one of the greatest twists in video games, but also one of the best death scenes, only to have the last level of the game be kinda crap. The final challenge that players had to overcome in Rapture unfortunately dampened the revelations that came with the killing of Andrew Ryan and the reveal of Frank Fontaine, as players had to complete the following straight afterwards. Overcome hordes of enemies while our plasmids constantly switched out, a painful as hell escort mission, and of course a disappointing final boss. Would you kindly let us forget that this ever happened?
And since the end, what was your reward?
Number 4, The Library, Halo Combat Evolved.
protocol requires that I take possession of the index for transport.
Nothing like finding yourself stuck inside a complex filled with the likes of the Flood, with only the annoying 343 Guilty Spark for company. Not to say that the Flood can't be effective at inducing horror. After all, they made their debut one level ago and gave the Master Chief a run for his money with their sheer numbers. The Library, on the other hand, is just a mad rush to find the index chamber as you work your way up through the same copy-pasted floors of the installation, making this area feel more tedious than tense. And again, when you do this, you have to put up with 343 Guilty Spark.
The energy barrier surrounding the index will deactivate when we reach the ground floor.
Number 3. Tutorial Driver. Talk about getting off on the wrong foot. Before you can get out and explore one of gaming's earliest 3D open worlds, you find yourself confined to a dreary parking lot and given a checklist of driving maneuvers to perform in order to get to the actual game. The problem is, the game does a terrible job of clarifying some of said maneuvers, and they're not easy to pull off, especially under a 60-second time limit. In fact, the difficulty spike is so misplaced that it might be one of the few games that will have players rage quitting before they even reach level 1.
You the man!
Number 2. Zen Half-Life. Welcome to the border world, where, just like the gravity, all forms of excitement that you previously had will be severely reduced. While the environment is a beauty to behold, the fact of the matter is that you are now stuck hopping over floating platforms, all while the visceral action is taking place back at Black Mesa. While by far not the most anger-inducing level ever, considering Gordon Freeman's journey up until this point had been nothing short of masterful with its well-paced combat and unique puzzles, the whole Zen experience feels really dull by comparison. Number 1. Demolition Man, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City.
Now look here, son. I got a problem and I reckon you could help me with it.
So, what's GTA known best for? Car chases? Firefights? Illicit activity with hookers? How about having to destroy an entire construction site by piloting a remote control helicopter and planting bombs all over the area? Not only is this really far from the ludicrously fun activities we're used to doing, but all of this has to be done within a time constraint while having to avoid hammer-wielding guards. And just to top it off, the controls are not your friend here. Honestly, this was so frustrating that it made that train level from San Andreas seem like a breath of fresh air.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.